Go talk to your kid. So when the kids are bad, they're not our kids. They're our husband's kids. That's how it works in my family. When the kids are bad, they're not my kids. They're Steph's kids. And that's kind of what the older brother was saying. This is your son. This is your deal. You want to be with him? Great. Be with him. Your son. And even though the older son was in the house, and even though he was just in the backyard waiting, he was still so far from the father's heart. He was basically saying to the father, you're going to need to choose between us. Because as long as you love this kind of person, you don't love me. He saw the younger son's acceptance as something that took away from his place in the family, and that's not how God sees it. There's room for the prodigals. There's room for the obedient people. We all have a journey. Some journeys are long, some journeys are short, but they're all a journey, and all of them are because of the Father. They're all because of what he does. And listen what the Father says. My son, the Father said, you're always with me, and everything I have is yours. But we had to celebrate. We had to, meaning it wasn't just that we had to because it was necessary, but it was the right thing to do. It's the right thing to do to celebrate when people come home. We had to celebrate because this brother of yours, no, he's not just my son. He's your brother. You can't cut him off and still have me. If you want to be my son, if you want to live in this house, he's not just my son. He's your brother. God doesn't want his family split. And he urges, what he really wants is he wants all the older sons to be on the porch with him. That's what he really wants. He really wants them. You know, it's funny because the older son looked at the father and he said, you know, I've done everything you've ever asked me to do, and you never even gave me a goat to celebrate with. And what did the father say to him? He said, all that I have is yours. What are you talking about? Take a goat if you want it. Take some money, take some fruit, take some bread. Have a party. You could have had it anytime you want. You see, the way that the older son saw the younger brother affected the way he saw his father. Because the father was like, what? Have a goat. It's always been your goat. Take one. But he was so poisoned with resentment at the younger son that he couldn't see that the father wasn't withholding. It's yours to have. There's room for all of us. His calf doesn't mean that you can't have a goat. There's enough for everybody in the house. Come into the house. It's not a party without you. Your chair is empty and the house won't be filled until you're sitting in your seat too. There's enough for everybody in the house. And so the other thing is that the son didn't realize you didn't kill the fatted calf for the son. We're not celebrating the pigsties of life when we welcome prodigals. What are we doing? We're celebrating the thing that only the Father can ever do, and that is restore what was lost. That is the younger son didn't just need to be found. He didn't just need to be cleaned up. He needed to be resurrected. And there's only one person. The Father didn't say, my son ran away and now he came back. He said he was dead and now he lives. Only the Father can do that. Only the Father can do that. And when we celebrate the return of his sons and daughters home, we're not celebrating the pigsty. We're celebrating the resurrection. We're celebrating the life that only God can give us. We're celebrating the restoration of his sons and daughters in the house. So Pastor Wyatt's going to come up in just a second, and the band can come on up, but I want to just end here. You know, at the end of the day, for both sons, the problem wasn't really broken rules. It was broken relationship. Each in their own way broke the Father's heart. The younger son broke it by rejecting and running away. But the younger son broke the Father's heart by rejecting him and running away. But the older son broke his heart by not receiving, not celebrating the return of the younger son. And in our own way, we have an opportunity to stand with the Father on the front porch, or we have an opportunity to go in the backyard and say, you know what, enough is enough. Where are we going to draw the line? Where are we going to draw the line? And I just want to say that I'm so glad that God didn't draw a line with me. I'm so glad that, when I think I have it all together and I finally, matured enough, that God still, when I fall, he doesn't go, enough is enough, Carrie. You ought to be past this by now. He goes, you know what? There's more grace. It's all right. Here's a ring. Here's a robe. Here's some sandals. It's okay. There's room in the house for you. That's the kind of people that I want to be. And you'll notice that Jesus didn't end this story. He never actually brought it to a conclusion. And here's the reason why. We can go back to why he was telling it. He left the father and the older son standing outside the house talking to one another. And that's because at that moment, he had the opportunity to talk to the Pharisees. And he was saying, there's still room for you. There's still opportunity for you to come in too. There's still a place at the table. Do you want to come in? These are your brothers. They were dead and now they're alive. You want to come in, be part of the party? The choice is still yours to make. The Father's heart is that all of his sons and daughters will be seated at the table. And we had to decide what we're going to do. Are we going to be the people that, pace the front porch, that follow the Father when he runs out to greet, that get the fatted calf, that help him throw the party? Are we going to be the people that stand up and ask, when is enough enough? I'm so glad that God's grace, it never ends. He never looks at me and says, enough is enough. And you know what? This family value, this family that God's called us to, Celebration Church, when we move into that new building, you know what we're just going to do? We're just going to take our pots and pans with us, and we're going to take our family values with us, and we're just going to move into a little house with a little bit bigger kitchen. We're going to just pop those things in the oven, and we're just going to keep heating up the value of acceptance. It's going to be the same home because the same family is going to be there, and we're going to be a family that's pacing the front porch and that's ready to receive our brothers and sisters when God sends them home. Amen? Awesome. Thank you.